device that might disrupt the meeting, please switch it either to silent mode or turn it off. At this time, I ask the Planning Commission Recording Secretary Kathy Zarnicki to conduct the roll call.
Mr. Buechner?
Here.
Mr. Faison?
Here.
Mr. Fox?
Here.
Mr. Hudson? Mr. Krent?
Here.
Mr. Lambert?
Here.
Ms. Malala Holly?
Here.
Ms. Parakis?
Here.
Mr. Tagle?
Here.
Quorum present.
Thank you. Next, we have the approval of the agenda for tonight. Mr. Faison makes the motion. Mr. Fox seconds that. Does anyone have any issues? All right, I think we're ready for the roll call.
Okay, Mr. Faison?
Yes.
Mr. Fox?
Yes.
Mr. Krent?
Yes.
Mr. Lambert?
Yes.
Ms. Malala Holly?
Yes.
Ms. Parakis?
Yes.
Mr. Tagle?
Yes.
Mr. Buechner?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next, we have approval of our minutes from the November 11th, 2025 meeting. Do I have a motion? Ms. Malala Holly, second. Mr. Buechner, any suggestions, edits, questions? All right, I think we're ready for the vote.
Okay, Mr. Fox?
Yes.
Mr. Krent?
Yes.
Mr. Lambert?
Yes.
Ms. Malala Holly?
Yes.
Ms. Parakis?
Yes.
Mr. Tagle?
Yes.
Mr. Buechner?
Yes.
Mr. Faison?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Now it's public comment for items that are not on the agenda tonight. If anyone's here and would like to speak on something that's not on tonight's agenda, please come forward and sign in. You'll have 3 minutes, and I'm going to have Brent, or Mr. Savinant use the timer lights for us.
Good evening, Marcia Bossenberger. Back in 2018, this room was packed. People were standing. We spoke till 11:30 at night regarding our street. 3 of the main topics were water, traffic, and safety. I have very big concerns about safety. As you know, I'm part of the Safe Troy's Corner group with Jeff and Lisa Williams, Ann Coleman, and Deborah Lazeski. Ann Coleman brought it to my attention about this pedestrian safety and traffic study, which I thought was what Ottawa got. It's not what we got. We got counting cars. In, out, 1, 2, 3, 4. We didn't get a safety study. And I am requesting the city, the council, and I'm sending a 3-page letter, once I get a chance of finishing it, to the Road Commission for Oakland County to request a safety study on our street because it is of a very urgent matter. There's been a high-speed police chase that lost control at the curve and drove through a ditch and landed in the front of my house. A teenager took a gas-powered dirt bike for a spin in the middle of the night and hit a parked car. A young boy learning to ride on a gas-powered mini bike hit a car. That just happened. A teenager took friend's car for a spin, going at a high rate of speed, lost control coming around the corner, crashed into the tree. The death of a young 5-year-old girl who was run over by a school bus. I didn't think I was going to cry.
Feel free to take your time.
Our dog Daisy got hit by a car yesterday. She was severely injured. I started writing this letter about safety before my dog got hit. Am I responsible for my dog? Yes. That could have been a child. It could have been a child. And I want you guys to remember that there was no safety study done for our neighborhood. And those are just 6 things that I personally can say, can tell you stories about. I knew that little girl who died. She was my friend. I personally know things that have happened. I can tell you all the times people have gone in ditches and slid. As you turn those corners and head towards 400 Ottawa, you're gonna slide right by it. That is not a typical neighborhood. It is not shaped like a rectangle, a square. This is not even in the math book. I request that we have a safety study before anything goes forward on the street, or I believe the city is liable. I'm gonna go pick up my dog.
Thank you for being here tonight. Is there anyone else here for public comment for items that are not on tonight's agenda? Okay. So in terms of the request, I imagine she'll just make a request to the city and the department, and it'll be responded to.
It sounded like she said she was going to send it to
Council even.
council.
Okay.
So,
All right, we're going to move on to item number 5, which is a conditional rezoning application, JPCR 2025-010. It's the proposed Z-Square Medical Office Building on the north side of Big Beaver. It's the east side of Frankton, PIN 88-20-22-358-28 and 29, Section 22, from R1E, One Family Residential Zoning District, to Big Beaver Zoning District. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to,
I'm going to start it off.
okay, go ahead.
So when we get an application for something like a conditional rezoning that requires a public hearing, we take a bunch of steps to notify people. We post it on the planning and development portal so people can see it 24/7. We put it on our city website. We put out a green sign that tells people that there's a public hearing coming, and with our phone number, they can ask questions. None of those are required by law. We do that as a courtesy. We did all those things. By law, we're required to post notice in a local newspaper, which we did, and we're also required to send letters to everyone within 300 feet, which we failed to do. So I've informed the applicant and apologized to the applicant for our error. So to keep moving this forward, because first of all, it was an advertised public hearing in a newspaper, and there could be people here who want to speak. But I propose that we open the public hearing, we take comment, Mr. Carlisle presents, the applicant presents, we discuss, because there's still value in giving feedback to the applicant, and we'll put this on the first meeting in January.
Okay.
In terms of timeline, it impacts this timeline by about 2 weeks, because as you all are aware, for public hearings, for conditional rezonings, they have to go, after this, they go to council, and the first available meeting for council that the announcement could be on is in January. So we don't impact it too terribly. Again, I've apologized for the error, and we'll do our best to keep this moving forward in a timely fashion.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you. And from a procedural standpoint, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing and keep it open. We'll leave
Keep
it
it
open
open.
until our next meeting. Okay, thanks.
Thank you and good evening. Just for a little background, the proposal in front of you is a proposed conditional rezoning and a site plan application to construct a medical office building. The site is located at Big Beaver in Frankton on the northwest corner. The site is approximately 0.70 acres in area, and it consists of 3 parcels. It's worth noting that the subject site has split zoning. So the front parcel is actually zoned Big Beaver, and that fronts on Big Beaver Road, and the rear parcels are R1E. The applicant is asking to conditionally rezone those rear parcels, and the site plan for the entire development is a condition of approval. The front parcel is vacant, and the rear parcel has been improved at one point with a single-family home, but that home has since been demolished. So just to orient ourselves, the bottom is where Frankton is, and Big Beaver is to the right, so it kind of flips it from what the aerial view. What's being proposed is a single-use 7,000-plus square foot medical office building. We know that there's no access off of Big Beaver Road. All access will be off Frankton. The building is placed along the Big Beaver and Frankton intersection, and the parking is located in the rear of the site. The applicant has offered these voluntary conditions for consideration. The first is the property shall be developed as a medical office facility. The second is the building footprint shall not exceed 3,700 square feet. Site improvement shall include the greenbelt landscape along Big Beaver and Frankton Avenue as shown. The fourth is a lighting system consistent with the submitted photometric plan shall be installed to provide safe illumination. The fifth is screening and buffering shall be maintained to the east and north property lines. And the sixth is the applicant should agree to that property shall be not used or developed in a manner inconsistent with the conditions above. With regards to the master plan, the site is master plan Big Beaver. The proposed location is that star in the middle of the map there, so it's surrounded by Big Beaver future land use. We note that Big Beaver line extends all the way to Heartland Avenue, so it's well below that line of demarcation. So we do find that the proposal to conditionally rezone it is consistent with the future land use plan of the master plan. With regards to the bulk standards, we do note that the applicant is compliant. However, they are seeking two waivers for consideration. The first is a relief to place the building at 10.69 feet from Big Beaver and 15 feet from Frankton. If the Planning Commission remembers, this is a form-based district which requires 10 feet from the hard corner. This request for relief is consistent with other relief that the Planning Commission has requested in the past. The second relief they're seeking for is there is parking that is on the side yard and fronting on Frankton Avenue. Our ordinance requires that to be screened with a screen wall, a masonry screen wall. The applicant is seeking approval to do landscaping rather than the screen wall. They note they just don't have the width to put the screen wall in this particular location. So those are the two reliefs that they are seeking as part of the application. With regards to parking, there are 37 parking spaces required based on the size of the building. They are providing those 37 spaces, so it is compliant. We note that landscaping is compliant, and one thing we did note, and we talked to the applicant in great length about this, is that buffering property line to the north with the single-family home, they have increased the amount of setback and buffer there and actually added additional landscaping to ensure there's adequate buffering. We do note, however, though, that they were to submit a tree survey. They did submit a tree survey, but it's incomplete. There's a few missing items of information that we need just to confirm that tree mitigation is compliant. And last, we do note that lighting is compliant. In addition, we had asked the applicant to actually reduce the pole lights that they're proposing in the parking lot, and they've done so. The requirement, the allowance is 25 feet, and they're only providing up to 20 feet in height, so they have reduced the height of the poles. Oh, it's right there. With regards to elevation, they have submitted elevation. The primary building material is a aluminum panel, brick, longboard siding, and glass. It is a one-story building with a mezzanine, a total of 28 feet at the top of the flat roof. And we do note that transparency has been met. However, there has been some discussion amongst some of the Planning Commission members with regards to how the floor plan relates to transparency, particularly along the Frankton Avenue due to the presence of exam rooms that are located on that side elevation and whether or not you can have true transparency into those exam rooms. So I think that's a point of discussion that the Planning Commission should have with the applicant. The applicant's provided two 3D renderings of the building. This is looking at the corner from Frankton and Big Beaver into the front vestibule of the project. And you note the mezzanine on the second floor there, or above the first floor. And this second rendering is actually the rear of the site in the parking lot. This is a conditional rezoning. There are 5 standards the Planning Commission should consider. The first is, does the application protect public health, safety, and welfare? Is the application compliant with the master plan? Have all terms and provisions of the zoning district been met? Can the project be served with public services and facilities? And lastly, is the application consistent and compatible with adjacent land use? This is in the Big Beaver district, so there are 4 design standards: building orientation and entrance, ground story activation, transitional features, site access and parking. This also does have standards for site plan review. The 3 are, compatibility with existing commercial and transitional land use, incorporation of best architectural practices, and enhance the character, environment, and safety for pedestrians and motorists. So in summary, we're asking the Planning Commission to hold a public hearing and discuss compliance with the conditional rezoning standards, compliance with the Big Beaver standards, compliance with the site plan standards. In addition, the Planning Commission should discuss the building placement waiver and the waiver of landscaping in lieu of the screen wall. If the Planning Commission does recommend approval of the conditional rezoning, we recommend that the following site plan conditions be met, and that's to provide a tree survey and replacement plan, a tree inventory and replacement plan. And again, tonight, we are not asking for an actual action tonight on this because of the notification issues, but at least these items should be discussed with the applicant. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carlisle. Does anyone have any questions? Mr. Fox?
So I have a question about one of the conditions, if you could go back to that slide. The first, the conditions offered by the applicant. So is Premier Cardiovascular Consultants like a specific business that they intend to work with?
The applicant's here, I assume so.
I guess if it is, let's just say, you know, heaven forbid something happens and like Premier Cardiovascular Consultants as a company just like stops existing. Would that make all of, like, would that affect the state of this? I guess I've never seen like a specific company named in the conditions offered by an applicant before, and it seems kind of like, well, what happens if this company can't move in? Is the whole rezoning suddenly null and void? Like, putting the actual company in the conditions just has me a little confused.
I agree.
Okay, thank you.
So we'll let the applicant address that.
Yeah, Mr. Lambert?
Yeah, thank you. Several years ago, the Cooper's Hawk restaurant across the street was approved by the city, and I'm assuming at some point either the planning commission or the city council asked Cooper's Hawk to put signs up that said no turns into the neighborhood to the north. Was any discussion like that made with the applicant about putting similar signs up?
I know we discussed traffic potential impact and turning. I don't think there was a specific request on our behalf to include that as part of their submittal. They're here tonight and they can certainly address that.
It's obviously it's a different use than Cooper's Hawk. It's not going to have that busy lunchtime crowd. It's not going to have patrons leaving the site after dark. So I don't believe we had that. We maybe talked generally, but I don't believe we were as concerned about those turning movements for this use as we were for Cooper's Hawk.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, Mr. Faison?
Does staff have the same concern or the same view of the screen wall for the parking on Franklin as the applicant?
The Planning Commission has granted relief in the past with regards to the screen wall. Cooper's Hawk right next door doesn't have the screen wall. It has landscaping. So certainly it's not an unusual request. The applicant did say, in their opinion, there's not enough room to put it in. There's potential for some utility issues in that particular location also, and so they're asking the relief just to do it through landscaping as well. Now, that being said, we'll ensure that when we review the landscape plan in detail as part of the final site plan engineering, that it does cover year-round screening and is dense enough to actually, the purpose of it is to screen headlights for the most part. That it will serve the purpose, the landscape would serve the purpose of what a screen wall would do if the Planning Commission does grant this relief.
Thank you.
Okay, if I don't see any other questions for the planning department, we'll go ahead and invite the applicant to come on up.
Hi, my name is Brad Burns. I'm with Sunburns Properties and Construction. We're a small development construction company in Southeast Michigan, representing the owner of this property. As a client of ours, we've developed many other things for them. If you'd like me to just go through some of the items addressed, or if you want to
please.
ask questions. Basically, this is a single-use medical office practice. In most of our submittals, we typically don't name a tenant in commercial spaces. This is a owner-use building, and that is the tenant and owner of the building. In the end, they figured it was reference a local Troy business was moving into their own structured building. The group of doctors are very excited to have their own monumental, beautiful glass building on Big Beaver, so they're very excited about that. So we can remove it from there if you want, but he is the gentleman that owns the land, is going to be the tenant. He's well invested to put up a really nice building there. So I'm happy to remove or have that on there. I've no concern of them going anywhere. They're quite invested into this project. So that's that item. So willing to take any, action on that based on your guys' request, so.
I mean, the way it works when it's a conditional rezoning is we can't ask you to do anything. So anything that you offer is, I don't know that it's necessary per se, but
The problem is if they don't own it anymore, like Mr. Fox pointed out, then the agreement doesn't,
And we'll just slash the name and just put medical facility,
I would
period.
leave it, I would not have it specific, just in the off chance that something wonky happens, 25, 30 years from now.
Yeah, okay.
No problem, can handle that. The other item was traffic. We definitely discussed that. I know the gentleman that owned the property personally before and had tried to get things approved on this property and had some challenge, but I think he was going for different uses. And, I don't think we propose as much of an issue as Cooper's Hawk does. I've spent some time over there. I've eaten at the restaurant many times. I've witnessed the traffic that exists over there. This is a small medical practice that you're going to have that 8 to 5 business traffic. This isn't going to be nights and weekends. We don't anticipate any kind of traffic issues. If there was a requirement to add signs or a request, I'd have no problem putting up signs that say no, turn right out of the parking lot. I don't know why anyone from that development would want to go that way, as Big Beaver is pretty easily, I've never had an issue in even rush hour getting out onto Big Beaver from there. So if that was a request, we would be happy to facilitate, but I don't see that being an issue. As far as the screen wall, there is utilities and stormwater detention systems and things going to be in there. In most of our developments related to tree surveys and landscaping, typically we call it, we plan a land forest in most of our developments. As usually we're cutting down more trees than we would like, but we have to plant back to appease and to create beautification to the property. We do plan to heavily screen that rear with a mix of arborvitaes and different other trees. Over there, we're planning on keeping some large pine trees that are existing on site. I think they're like 30 to 40 feet tall. There's no plan to remove those. We've kind of confirmed with engineering that we can make our stormwater system work with those being there and not kill them. We believe the natural buffer a lot of times looks a lot better than a PVC fence or a concrete wall. It's not that we don't want to do it. We just think it'll be more feasible and look better, especially for the residents. We did provide in one of the comments, the concrete screen wall on the Frankton side of the street. Cooper's Hawk did end up putting a green buffer there. I would like to do the same, but I did mention to Brent that we're concerned that, basically talking to the landscape architect, that the depth of the space that we have is tight. Anything living in that space along Frankton between the right-of-way and the curb probably won't survive. So putting a wall there with maybe annual grasses would make sense. So we did comply on that side of things. The exam room glass on Frankton, the floor plan submitted was to try and get through some planning submittals, as I don't think a floor plan is all the way, it's just more of a high-level floor plan. We still need to zero in the actual overall layout. We plan to shift around the exam rooms and such to make it feasible. We've worked with the doctor. There's a number of rooms that allow that there won't be a HIPAA issue by having full transparency in some of the rooms for certain activities. So we don't believe that the glass is a requirement of the Big Beaver District, and we will comply to that, and we will make the interior layout work for the doctor the best we can to comply with his rules and requirements. So we don't believe that there's a major concern there, as there's still some work to do on the inside floor plan layout that will help mitigate that. We did complete a tree survey. I was not aware that there was a deficiency. If there is, we will correct or adjust that. I know we had submitted some stuff about a week ago in the time we had to turn this back around, but we will negate that to whatever the situation is. We have no problem with landscaping at all. That's really all I had. Like I said, the client's owner, user, very invested, looking to spend a decent amount of money on this project, make it very nice. I did go around and visit a number of the homes and business next door I try to always go and do a little door-to-door. The more time goes on, I find it to be unsuccessful. People are usually more upset that I'm at their front door than anything. But I did attempt to reach out to a number of people. I spoke to one resident and one business owner nearby. The one business owner to the east had asked if we could slide the dumpster back a little bit to be in line with his. And I said we wouldn't have a problem with addressing that. It's more of a placement thing. So we would definitely address that with Brent. I haven't had a chance to talk to him about that since I was out there yesterday. But other than that, I wasn't able to make contact with many residents the couple visits I had made out there. But I did make that attempt. Was there any further questions you had for me, or?
I've got one.
Yep, go ahead, Mr. Smith.
I really like the appearance of the building, beautiful architectural detailing. I like the, especially your mezzanine or your second story, all glass. What is that going to be used for?
So it was an idea I had. So he just wanted a single story building. I'm good at spending most of our customers' money. But basically, we thought being on Big Beaver and being a monumental piece and one of the last few vacant pieces, we wanted to make something that stood out. And for him to get the value, he overspent on the land and going to spend a decent amount on this building. And we want to make sure that we get that ROI for him long term. So upstairs is going to be doctor's offices, their private offices. There'll be a large kitchenette up there. And then that will be an outside balcony area that they can have lunch or have little entertaining gatherings or whatnot for the staff. And it'll be an awesome view down Big Beaver both ways. It'll kind of remind me of like the Sedona Tap House if you ever eat up there. So yeah.
Very nice.
Just a way to jazz it up to make something more
I
of
agree,
it.
it's lovely.
And we didn't have enough square footage on the first floor, so it was kind of a way to get it up
Nicely
there.
done.
Does anyone have questions for the applicant? Go ahead, Mr.
Just as a follow-up, the no, out of your building, it'd be no right turn. And I know, obviously, the volume of traffic coming out of your facility is not gonna be anywhere near what it is for Cooper's Hawk, but I was just concerned that because the people coming out of Cooper's Hawk see people coming out of yours, going north into the neighborhood, will say, oh, I can just ignore that sign from Cooper's Hawk exit, because obviously nobody's enforcing it. So it's conditional rezoning. It's up to you whether you want to offer it, but you might want to go back and see if that's something that would be amenable to your client.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see it being a problem either way, so if it helps the support of our overall approval, I'd be happy to add it.
Ms. Malala Holly?
Thank you. Just curious, what's a nuclear lab?
It's where they actually. I thought the same thing. I was like, "What are you doing? Nuclear stuff in there?" Like, I guess it's like a testing. I'm not a cardiologist, but it's like nuclear, but it's not actually radioactive. It's some. I'd be making stuff up, honestly, but he explained it to me. I can get a better clarification, but it's not nuclear reactive kind of thing. It's a way that they do some kind of testing.
Got it.
Sorry,
Thank you.
I don't have the answer for it.
It's safe and legal.
It's safe,
That's
yeah,
all we need to
exactly.
know.
I was about to
It's
say
not
safe and
nuclear
legal.
or radioactive. I stood in the room and was not worried about it. So right now it's a current closet about the size of this table. I think it's like a little testing device, and they call it the nuclear lab. I don't think it actually has anything to do with like uranium or anything like that. So
Got it. Thank you.
Mr. Tagle?
Question for our staff and consultant. As far as transparency calculations, how far over are they, or are they over the required minimum amount of transparency?
I can answer
I'm
that.
speaking specifically on Franken.
I believe they're, based on their calculations, they are right at, they're right at 50% for both. As they're showing their calculations, they're right at 50%.
And that's a requirement. minimum.
That's the requirement, yeah. So they're right at the required amount.
On the other side of the alleyway or the neighboring office building, we are required 0, and we have, I believe, 50% as well over there, or at least 35 on the other side. And we were even told that we could get rid of that, but the doctor wants to maintain the glass for all the way around in case the building ever went into a different use or something like that for resale values and beautification of that building.
Now I have a question for you. I noticed your Franken setback, you're asking for a deviance of 5 feet. What's preventing you from moving that building 5 feet closer to Franken? Is it, well, I'll let you answer.
It's to create the walkway, so it's a requirement of the Big Beaver District to have the entrance of the facility on Big Beaver, not just from the rear. So the primary entrance has to be kind of accessible or viewable from Big Beaver as part of the Big Beaver District rules. So basically, we created a nice, if you look at the overall site plan, there's a walkway in addition to just the traditional public sidewalk. It's a combination of the two, and it's landscaped heavily to kind of create more of a beautified entry from the parking lot to help just transition that buffer between the parking lot and getting to the front door. So if you go to the actual top down.
The 3D rendering, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, so there we go. It's not as perfect as the actual plan, but that's pretty close.
So there is no sidewalk on Franken in the right-of-way right now, is that correct?
That is correct. There's no sidewalk currently. There will be once we are completed.
Well, but it'll be on your property, it won't be in the right-of-way. It's inboard of your property line.
It is inward, yes. So traditionally, it would be
Well,
more
typically,
in the
yeah.
right-of-way.
If it was a public walk, it would be on the outside of the
Correct.
property line.
So we were trying to transition it to be used for both ways, for public walk and for entry, and to be able to put more landscape without creating a safety hazard for the vehicles.
Okay, thank you.
It's creating additional screening and such for the building.
While we have this picture up, there's that little,
AC unit?
no, there's
There's
like a
screening,
little
it's not shown on
drive
there.
that like a little, like it's like a turnaround, like a little,
That's the existing,
it is being removed, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because
The
I saw it on the
renderings
plan.
sometimes go so far, and I rushed this remodification, so I think they just didn't get everything in
Okay,
and out. So
okay.
that
'Cause
is just the
on the plan, it
existing
showed that it was
approaches.
being removed, and then I saw it in this beautiful rendering. I was like, that's kind of weird. Okay.
I rushed it last week, so I got what I got, so
Yeah,
I
yeah, no
apologize
worries.
about that.
Okay, so I love the building. I think it's beautiful. I think that it's, it fits the area, and its use is great for this area as well, because it's low impact in terms of the neighbors to the north. The one issue or question I have really comes down to the floor plan, which I know you said is a work in progress. But when we're trying to determine whether we're meeting the transparency requirements, it is important that we understand what's going on in the building. Because every rendering where we're looking in, it's showing couches and big open spaces, and that's great. That's what we want, right? But when the floor plan shows all those patient rooms, you know, there are many businesses on Big Beaver that cover their windows, and that actually violates the Big Beaver zoning district. And at some point, I've been assured that they're going to start patrolling and you know, giving citations for that. But, you know, we're here to try to encourage the transparency in the spirit of the master plan, which is we want to be able to see inside and show the activity. So when we don't see an accurate floor plan, it's really hard for us to gauge what's really going to happen. So given the floor plan you gave us, it's patient rooms, and it's very hard to believe that patient rooms are going to be completely open like that. I mean, I think it's a pretty easy fix. You can move things around. You can, you know, make that a walkway with all glass and have the patient rooms be internal. I mean, there's several things you can do. But I do think that it's something when you come back, we need to see it so it's accurate. So when we're saying, oh, okay, that's believable, we're gonna be able to see in, because it's a waiting room and it's a conference room and it's an office. But when you start having procedure rooms and these medical things that tend to be pretty windowless in general, or basements, with that nuclear lab, I'd like to see a floor plan that's actually, you know, consistent with what's actually gonna take place inside.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't realize there was an actual hard requirement. No, most times when we go through this process, the floor plan is in a later phase of the project determination.
Yeah.
And we fully understand the transparency requirement and not putting shades up. We definitely discussed that 100%. My client fully understands that we can't put shades up and block that space. So the plan is to have those transparent or move rooms around or whatnot, but it would be transparent and visible into the building. We have no reason to try to cause a block to that, as we fully understand the rules of the transparency rules. So I'm going to make every effort over the next couple of weeks to do this. It's going to be difficult before January 7th to get a floor plan reworked, but I'm going to try. The plan was to get this all approved and then finalize all the interior builds and stuff. But I'm happy to make an effort at it. But I am committed and guarantee that it will be right.
Okay.
So I know that's my word to
Yeah, I
everything
mean,
else, but
and I think that you'll work with the planning department in terms of when you get back on the agenda. I think they're offering it right away, but whenever you're ready, right? I mean,
yeah, our goal is we're hoping to start in the spring.
Okay,
So we were
yeah.
already ready a few months ago. So we're really
Yeah.
trying to get this moving
yeah,
along.
okay.
So
Well,
yeah,
The
I'll
next,
do everything.
the next available,
is that how it works? We have
the next
to,
available planning commission meeting is the 13th of January, second Tuesday in January.
right, okay, and that's when because we're keeping the hearing open to that date.
But I will make an attempt to fix that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the one other thing is maybe a question for the planning department, but I feel like we're always told that we try to line up entrances and exits, so they're across from each other. And I did notice that Cooper's Hawk comes out, you know, here, and then there's a better rendering, but then, you know, they go in and out, not matching up. Did anyone look at that? Is that okay? I mean,
Yeah, it was looked at by engineering, not raised as a red flag. They ideally would like to line up as best as possible, but again, this is such a low-intense automobile use that I don't think the concern so much was traffic coming in and out of this particular site.
okay.
And to make the parking lot work, it was the only way to shape it without going to one entry and exit, to centerize it and lose most of the parking. We went to a lot of different parking layouts to try
Okay.
and make this work. So we definitely always try to take it like a traffic pattern in
Right.
place. Actually being on site, I think it will actually flow better by being split.
Okay.
Because of the volume of traffic that goes in and out of that property, that I think there'll be a lot of people that use the second one so they can flow behind the cars coming out of Cooper's Hawk. if
Oh,
that
I
makes any
see,
sense.
okay. Yeah.
Instead of it being kind of a head-on head without a traffic light or
Right,
like
okay.
that, so.
Fair enough. I was wondering whether you had considered something different in a different shape of the parking, but if you examined it and the planning department didn't have an issue with it, it seems okay. And I did make a note about you, I read that you had said that you were gonna contact the neighbors, but you did already address that. And then, of course, they're getting their letters of notice as well. Does anyone else have any questions for the applicant? Yeah, Mr. Taylor.
Is there any, do we have any latitude with transparency since they're over the transparency on one side that they don't need to have the transparency? Does that come into play at all?
Unfortunately, there's no latitude with regards to transparency. They have to meet it, or they would have to get a variance from the zoning board of appeals.
Okay. No credit for the transparency that they don't
I
need.
mean, we certainly like it and support it, but there's not a transfer system in of it where you can apply more to one side than another. No, it's a 50% minimum requirement on the public right-of-ways.
I appreciate that. We did ask the same question, so I appreciate you asking.
I mean, the building's really beautiful, and the transparency, I think, is what makes it beautiful. So I would just love to see you work around the floor plan and make the space work, given the exterior.
Knowing what I know, that's a big,
A
for
big
this
ask?
layout right now, that's a big ask to pull those rooms off of that wall. It's one thing to you could put a corridor on the glass wall, but how that affects the circulation inside the building, that's a big deal. I mean, it's not just pushing a couple walls around, but that's something that you
We've
and
had a
your
lot of
professional-
discussion on it. That's why between now and January 9th, it's going to be tough to totally relay out, but I have confidence by the time we get to a building plan that we'll accomplish that. It just takes the doctors and some admin staff agreeing on what we can do. And I really don't want a corridor, because I don't think anybody in this room wants to look at it through a nice glass wall into a wall either. So we don't want that either. I don't want that. I don't want to build a building that's a bunch of hallways. That might be the case on the back side, but on this Frankton side and Big Beaver, we want to try and have as much view in as possible. That's the other reason the doors on the front, part of the requirement of Big Beaver, and also to allow as much transparency into a nice big waiting room space there. So the plan is there's a couple different exam type rooms that are more sit and have a procedure done that doesn't have a HIPAA or a violation of someone's privacy. They're sitting there with a cuff on or waiting for something to happen.
I think one of the, go ahead.
I think one of the things you might consider when you look at your plan, you call these all patient exam rooms. If you could be a little bit more specific, like counseling room or something, just so we would know that this isn't like, somebody's going to, be in a room where you wouldn't want glass. And the other thing is, once we get past this, I don't want to go by and see shades drawn down, over the glass, because again, we've just found another way to get around the requirement.
I agree.
Okay.
I think you were going to say what I was going to say, but go ahead.
Maybe not. We'll see.
Okay.
It sounds like we all want the same thing.
Yeah,
Like we all agree the building looks really nice. We all want the same thing, transparency and compliance. And I'm hearing what the applicant is saying about the difficulty to get a floor plan that's perfect, that's going to be perfect and not going to change post-council. So applicants can voluntarily offer things at any time, so what if, given the fact that I'm hearing that the floor plan is going to be fluid, what if the applicant were to voluntarily offer that they'll meet transparency on the Big Beaver elevation and meet transparency on the Frankton elevation, the 50% minimum, and that gives us some leeway to continue to tweak the floor plan moving forward. Just a thought. So they're tying they're going to voluntarily offer that they will meet the 50%, but we gives them some leeway on the floor plan.
They already meet the 50%.
Right.
He's saying in writing, I would voluntarily mean that, I assume that's what you mean.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
I'm going to, taking my word in writing that we will comply and meet the 50%, not only just on the elevation, but the transparency rules as they stand.
I'm just thinking, just throwing it out there. Is that what you're going to say? I don't think it was.
No, it was not what I was going to say. I mean, I guess, I mean, you're basically asking them to follow the zoning ordinance and put that in writing. I mean, they have to follow the zoning ordinance one way or the other. So to me, that's, putting it in writing is, it's my job, our job as a commission to make sure that they're following the zoning ordinance. So I would like to see the floor plan that's believable, that shows that it's done. So, you know, you guys didn't like my corridor rule. I'm not the architect, no big deal. But, you know, what I was going to bring up is what you had brought up to me is that you guys you have more transparency than needed on Big Beaver, right?
No, I believe we made it
You just met it exactly?
Yeah.
Their calculations say 50% required, 50% provided.
Okay.
So,
Okay. I thought you were talking about maybe they moved the conference room over to the Frankton side or something because,
So I was looking at the floor plan that showed lobby, it showed administrative office, lobby, and foyer. Like it
Yeah,
looked
yeah.
like from the floor plan that did not include transparency calculations. It looked like there was it exceeded, but Mr. Carlisle was going off the elevation had the transparency calculation. So when you and I were talking, I misspoke.
okay, got it. All right, well, anyway,
So I think the point is, the applicant could voluntarily offer to exceed the transparency requirements on 2 out of the 4 sides and meet, you know, on the other. I mean, they can offer something, it's conditional rezoning, so they don't have to meet the zoning ordinance if this board is willing to accept the conditions that they're voluntarily
oh, I
offering.
see what you're saying.
And we want them to comply with the zoning ordinance, but if there's some sort of trade-off, like Mr. Tagle suggested, they exceed it on 2 or 3 sides, and then less on the other.
No, yeah, you can't horse trade.
You could, because it's in a conditional zoning.
use that conditional zoning as a way to
Yeah.
relieve an ordinance. You
I-
can't use it to restrict an ordinance.
To what?
Use it to restrict an ordinance, you can't use it to relieve an ordinance, requires the bank.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would just want to throw something out there or put it on the table as well. I'm happy to modify this so it shows, I just don't want it to be a condition of approval that this floor plan is the locked floor plan. We have a whole lot of building construction drawings that have to happen after this, so there will be fluid no matter what on the insides of these with working with mechanicals, electrical, you know, elevators if we decide to put one in, you know, stairways. Right now, we're showing 2 stairways, no elevator, but, you know, that all hasn't been solidified yet, which typically doesn't happen in this phase. So I don't want to propose something that is any misconception either or locks us in one way or another. I'm happy to revisit this floor plan. There's a lot of reshifting. This floor plan was basically taking the space that they have now, adding some rooms, and laying it out in a default to check the requirement for site plan approval.
Okay.
As typically, we've not ever been required to solidify on the floor plan in a
Okay.
site plan approval.
That's kind of the problem, because you're doing conditional rezoning and you're tying your conditions to your site plans. So they are kind of locked in at this point because you're tying the conditions that you're offering to all of those things. So,
That's why I'm trying to be honest
yeah,
about it.
I know, and I
it's-
appreciate the honesty, but
Even
this
if I
is the
relay it out,
picture.
there's still things in a building construction permitting that are going to require some modification regardless.
Understood.
So I just want to make sure I'm protecting myself and
Yeah, no, I
obligating what.
understand. I
I have
understand.
every bit of reason to obligate to fulfill the need to to make it transparent, or else I'm not going to be very successful next time I'm here. So
Right.
So,
Mr.
so,
Savanaugh, go ahead.
so this is a little bit of a peek behind the curtain of how the sausage gets made, right? So what happens when a conditional rezoning agreement is crafted, there's a provision near the end that says something to the effect of like minor deviations or minor changes in the site plan can be reviewed and approved by the zoning administrator. So for example, if they have to add an elevator and they show a window that's 6 feet wide, but they put an elevator in, now the window's only 4 feet wide, that's approvable as long as they continue to meet the transparency, as an example. Or there's a tree that's proposed to be planted in a certain location, but there's underground utilities, so it has to be shifted over 10 feet. That's another example of something minor. We don't want to have to go back to the planning commission, have a public hearing, go back to city council for something minor like that. So my point of suggesting the transparency was, given the fact that this is fluid, because as Mr. Tagle knows and other people who develop, when you have plans that are locked in, things change. It happens all the time that things are minorly changed. You propose a certain door, but you can't get it from the supplier, so you get a different door, that type of thing. So that's why I kind of floated the idea of the 50% transparency, because he's basically acknowledging, look, there could be changes to the floor plan, minor changes, but I'm still gonna voluntarily give you the 50% on Frankton and 50% on Big Beaver. That's kind of where I was coming from.
Okay,
So,
understood.
makes sense?
Okay.
I think we're all on the same page.
We're all
but-
on the same
okay.
page. I guess, for me, I would feel, when it's time for us to make a recommendation to city council, I would like to have the floor plan be reflective of the 3D renderings. When we're looking inside, it should be relatively accurate. And it sounds to me like you really haven't even sat down and tried to do it to make sense. So I think you'll go and you'll make it much better. I don't mean better, but much more relevant and applicable to what we're seeing on the outside is my hope. Now, is it going to be perfect, and are we going to, I think, as Mr. Savanaugh just said, there can be some flexibility, that's understood, but I do think it has to be believable. Right now, to me, it's not believable, because I believe that all those patient rooms are going to have shades closed on that whole Frankton side, which defeats the purpose. So I'm just putting it out there. I'm just one person, one vote.
I understand.
Mr. Cron.
Is there an elevator?
There is not, and there's not a plan to, I brought that up as an example of if we had to rework the space, or it's been conversation, but the plan, typically interior space like this, we go through all the required needings for outside, and the inside is kind of, I don't want to say last, but it's the structure and outside,
Yeah.
in the landscape and the site plan is typically what we have to get approved first before we can get into the fancy lights and flooring and all that stuff and the overall layout. This is pretty close to what the floor plan, it's not gonna change significantly, but there could be some float around, depend on, just making sure the flow works right for their team. But yeah, I will try and take an address to that, or, we will have a very clear understanding that, it will be clear glass, so.
Okay.
And then, the other reason we moved the sidewalk back and planted the large trees along Frankton was to help provide some level of screening for those exam rooms or those rooms along that side. So as much as we have transparency, we're kind of screening it a little bit with a natural buffer, to beautify the space, provide tree replacement, and create a little bit of a privacy to those spaces too, to being honest. So all of this has been thought about
Yep.
To try and meet and also balance use and need at the same time.
Okay.
I mean, this site is basically, this is, I think, the best case use for this is a private office or small little medical office building versus like a big office structure or something.
Yeah.
I think this is,
Or a restaurant
or
or
a restaurant
anything
or
that-
apartment building
Right.
or any of that stuff. So I'm trying my best to try and make sure it
Yeah.
meets all the requirements and meets that. And I'm just looking for, I don't want to say even a little flexibility, but just understanding of what
Yep.
the space can be used for.
No, the vision is there. The vision.
Just a reminder, it's a public
Yep,
hearing.
yep, I'm aware. Okay. All right, thank you. Go ahead and have a seat, and we're going to open it up for public hearing. If anyone is here tonight to speak on this item, please make your way to the podium, sign in. Come on up. we'll have Mr. Savinett run the lights. We'll give you 3 minutes after you sign in. We won't start your timer till after you sign in and introduce yourself. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm John Abro. I actually own the property right next door, just to the east of it, 189 East Big Beaver Road. Yes, I actually had the opportunity to meet with Brad, the developer, GC, on this project. I think it's a great-looking building. And in regards to the use, I mean, I've been here for a few years now, and yes, the residents nearby, they've all told me, they said, John, I can turn your building into a restaurant. I said, absolutely not. So I guess there's a pushback of another high-use restaurant. So again, for this being a medical building, I think it's a great use for the site. It's a great-looking building. A couple comments about the drive, how they don't line up. As you push the parking lot further north, you're now getting the parking lot closer to the residents near further north, or I think just the property next door. They've told me before, as long as there's a great size of a buffer, it should be no problem for any development. So again, I'm here in support of the development. It's a great-looking building. And I do love the amount of glass there is from the rendering itself. I remember when I did the renovation on 189, which is the Art of Dermatology building, if you guys are aware of that building. Brent asked me, John, this renovation, I need minimum 50% glazing off of Big Beaver. I gave him actually 75% or almost 80%, and it works. And again, I get it. There are certain developments on Big Beaver. For certain businesses, it's hard, and I totally understand, from gas stations and things like that. But regarding medical building, I know my tenant downstairs, I mean, they have their lobby, and it's a high-end lobby, and they have cords lit up from their lobby itself. They have the reception counter. They have 2 offices, conference rooms. So it's very similar to this. Maybe Brad took the idea when he walked by, but it works great. And I did ask Brad, and it looks like he's taking my recommendation on moving the trash can just a few spaces north, so it backs up my existing trash can or enclosure, only because my next move is, if this gets approved, eventually that screening wall, that hideous screening wall that's there right now only on my property, only because there's a residential property zoned, eventually that would come down. So you'd have great looking medical buildings near, parking lots, not shared parking spaces or cross paths, but just that open air design. And I believe, again, I haven't spoken to Brent about this. I'm not sure if this is something I can do anyway, but I believe I could, because once it's zoned commercial, the existing block wall could potentially come down. So, what?
We can talk offline.
Yeah, okay. So again, I'm here to support, with this project. I think it looks great. And somebody made a comment about pushing the building further to the east. The neighbors who are on Helena Street love the fact that as you're closer to the actual residential neighborhood, the building itself, the walkability feels better rather than pushing even further back. So again, I support this project. So
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else here that would like to speak on this application? All right, we're not going to close the public hearing because we're going to continue it at the next meeting, January 13th. But we are going to turn it back to Planning Commission discussion. There's nothing. We're not doing anything, but does anyone have anything else that they want to? Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Kremp.
So the 50% transparency requirement on the 2 streets, that's just for the ground floor, correct? Okay. And then I was reviewing our next item, which is the neighborhood nodes, and we have 7 transparency alternatives. We don't offer that in the Big Beaver district, huh?
Nope, and that's intentional, because
Okay.
we want transparency on Big Beaver.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
It's just hard for me to believe when I look at that picture. It looks like it's all glass. How is it only 50%?
I am only relying on what their actual numbers said. The actual number said 50%. If they go back and recalculate them and it's more, it may be more, but the number said 50%, and they said they provided only 50%.
Okay. Okay. So we're not taking action tonight, unless the applicant has any other questions for us. I think that we're ready to move on. Yeah, thank you very much for being here. And, again, we apologize that we couldn't, make a recommendation one way or the other, but we hope to see you back in a couple weeks. Okay. All right. Moving on to the next item, which is our zoning ordinance text amendment, file number 258, the neighborhood node revisions. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Carlisle.
Yes, thank you. Chairperson Parakis asked me earlier today if I had prepared a PowerPoint for this, and I have not, so I apologize that I've failed in my consulting duties. That being said, this commission has seen this numerous times. The difference between the last time you saw and today is simply we have made the changes to the entrance language and to the transition step back language as discussed at the last planning commission meeting. But now you have in front of you a complete full draft with all the changes as made by the planning commission. You have both a clean version as well as a red line version. In addition, we put together a spreadsheet of all the proposed parcels that would be impacted by this. I also provided a, let's see how long, like a 5-page cover memo with all the detailed list of all the proposed changes for consideration. But again, the Planning Commission has seen all this before. This is nothing new. What we're looking for is one last review by the Planning Commission to see if you have any questions or comments or concerns. And if not, we would like you to direct us to schedule a public hearing. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so I'm just going to leave this. Did Mr. Buechner leave? Oh, I didn't even notice. Okay. I'm going to just, open it up for discussion if anyone has questions. Yep, go ahead, start us off, Mr. Fox.
Well, yeah, I guess I just want to start off by thanking the planning office for putting a lot of work. I know we've had a lot of meetings discussing, tweaking, changing language, and I know you guys have been working, double time to get this all cranked out. So, again, I think the switching to having A, B, and C type for the neighborhood nodes is going to provide some really good guidance going forward. I think we're going to get to see some really cool developments come out of this. So, I very much appreciate the work that was put in.
Thank you. Ms. Malala Holly?
Thank you. Mr. Carlisle, just a few clarifications that I seek. Page 46, under neighborhood node C, in the parentheses, you write edge residential / low intensity commercial. What's edge residential?
Transitional residential, so very small scale, either single family or a small duplex, I think is what's allowed. So that we consider that an edge residential.
Okay. May I ask?
Yes, of course,
okay.
of course.
Moving on to page 47, in the simplified and updated authorized use groups and building forms, data center is mentioned. Now, typically, when we talk about data centers, we are talking about huge spaces with computers and things like that. I don't believe that's the vision here, because we don't have that kind of space.
No, what we had is a listed use in the previous node, so we're simply taking it out for consistency with the other similar uses that we're taking out as well.
It's being eliminated.
Correct.
Okay.
It's being eliminated.
It's in the column for eliminating.
Yeah.
Yes, it says
That is-
eliminate.
Those are going to be eliminated,
Yep.
okay. One more question that I had on page 47. Actually not, missing it now, where is it? Oh, yeah. Under transparency alternatives section, section including, and one of the bullet points says wall design articulation. What is that?
It's in the current ordinance, and it essentially is a change in wall design based on a certain linear footage to give additional architectural variation and changes to make sure it's just, to get away from just a flat, blank, one monotonous wall.
Got it, thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Kram.
Some thoughts. This is on number 3 under the B section called regulating plan. This is the site types. It's talking about open space. So for A, it says to allow for the most creative solutions for mixed use and node-specific development with a mix of open space and landscaping to provide amenity to residents. So are we saying that we're going to have open space, something, and landscaping that's an amenity to the residents, and a little pocket park, or what are we saying in that little sentence there?
Can you, I don't know what
Okay.
section you're referencing,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's,
Page 51 of the,
yeah, I
Page-
used the clean version, so it doesn't,
51.
it's, yeah, okay, thank you.
51.
51 in the packet, or?
Oh, yes, in our
51, okay.
Thanks, John.
Under site type,
A. Yeah, 3, and then down to site type A. And it's then it goes to site types 3, it says 3 site types, and then lowercase a, site type NN:A.
The very top.
And then it talks about the open space and landscaping to provide amenity to residents. So I'm wondering, what is that amenity? What do you envision? In other words, give me some kind of a picture of what that will look like. Because A is the-
And colon A
in the
category
red-
is meant to
red print.
accommodate. This is the black part, this part that's staying, and then he's asking about the red part that's underlined, that starts development with a mix of open space and landscaping to provide an amenity to residents, right, Mr. Krant?
Yes, correct, thank you.
On the clean one, Mr. Carlisle, it's just at 5.06B3A on the clean one.
Yeah, it's like the first page of the clean one. I like the clean one, it's really helpful, appreciate that.
yeah, so one of the things we did talk about was that, so site type A are the large sites. And so there was a thought, again, these just intend to be mixed-use sites with some residential. And the thought was to allow for, or require that there is some open space and landscaping within these larger, bigger sites. So it could be a pocket park, it could be an entry, landscape buffer, could be a little neighborhood node park.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because under site type B and C, that description with, to provide amenity to the residents isn't included in those. And I just wondered what what made A, it's nice language, I'm glad it's there, but I'm just wondering, just fill me in a little bit of background.
Can I add, I think part of it is that at those hard corners, any residential would be part of a mixed use or a more dense sort of housing. So the idea is to offer a park or open space for the community at those hard corners. That was the thought process, I think,
Okay.
at the time.
All right. And then one that was specifically, I think, one that was put in the clean one, mainly to trip me up, make sure I was on my toes. There's a little table
Yep.
on D setback, and you realize the.
Yep. Yeah, it's an error. I'll correct that for the
Good.
final
I
version.
just didn't,
Yep.
I didn't want to,
Nope.
drill you on it, but I thought, oh, I'll do this and I'll show if Tom's read this or not.
Yep.
Yeah, Tom read it. Okay. And I have one clarification I need on the very end of this. It's number 4, site access, parking, and loading. It's on the B area, location. I just need a little bit of a clarification on, it says, when parking is located on the side yard behind the front building line, but fronts on the required building line, no more than 50% of the total site's linear feet along the required building line, or 100 feet, whichever is less shall be occupied by parking. I just wanted to, it was hard for me to visualize those
That's
words.
planner job security language.
Oh, okay.
No, it's very similar to what we had tonight, where you had basically a building on, that was located on a side yard. The portion on the side yard adjacent to the building line, no more than that, 50% of that can be actual parking. So the remaining has to be open space or landscaping or something of that nature.
I get it, okay. I just needed a visual picture, but thank you, I appreciate it.
Mr. Lambert.
Thank you. On the section 5.06B3A, there's language in there for site type NN:A that was left over from previous versions, and I wonder, is that something that's necessary? It says regionally visible. Is that terminology that is necessary in that section or not?
Again, what page are we talking about here?
I have the red line version, so I'm
3A,
saying,
site type NN:A. And it's in parentheses, page 51. High intensity, commercial or mixed use, regionally visible. It's in parentheses.
We can take out regionally visible.
okay, all right, good. And then one other question, as I put Ms. Dufresne on the spot here, and that is about, the last meeting we had talking about access from residential areas out to the road, you know, whether something was going to be visible. And this is the design standards where we talk about residential use. The planning commission may waive the primary entrance requirement in section 1D for a residential use after considering the following standards and determining that a sufficient criterion have been met. Is that sufficient criteria?
So
Okay,
I
for-
circled that myself, Mr. Lambert. I wasn't sure if that was just a note from Ben and Brent to sort of fill in the blank there, because it doesn't make sense to me.
Okay.
I
So
circled that
maybe
as
that's
well.
maybe that's a discussion point that you were trying to fill out?
No. Which,
I thought it was just a word,
Leftover.
that the word, like I crossed out, now I can't even see if it was said or a, but it should be determining that sufficient criteria have been met. I think it was just a mistake. There's the letter A that needs to be removed. That fixed grammatically the sentence. Does that help
Well,
you or
not so much as just making sure, because I remember
I know,
from,
hang on, I have.
I remember from my ZBA days, there was always the debate, do all the standards have to be met for the variance or not, or just the
Right at
not?
the bottom.
we had a lengthy debate on that, especially, and the planning commission wanted it to say a sufficient, I think I think criterion was the word that you all chose, have been met. So it doesn't require all of them to be met, but it's sufficient based on your judgment. So this is written how I think you had proposed the language to be. You all had.
y'all?
As long as our attorney is satisfied with that, so.
Well, no, I guess that wasn't how I understood our conversation. I thought we were trying to come up with either, I mean, I think you need to have further clarification of what sufficient criteria, sufficient number, at least two of them.
The discussion was it was open-ended.
Nowhere else in the ordinance does it require a number for, I mean, when we do, say, special use or or the PUD, it's always talking about sufficient. I mean, I'm not saying it's the way to go, but it's consistent with the rest of the zoning ordinance where we say sufficient criteria.
And also, it says may, right? So that's another qualifier,
I think,
too.
I think the attorney wanted us to say may, though, so.
Because it gives even
'Cause-
more discretion to the planning.
Exactly. So even if they met, let's say we said two, but then we may grant the relief, so.
Well, I had given the example of if they meet all five, we still don't have to because we
Exactly.
may do it. There might be another reason we don't want to approve something.
Yeah, I agree. So I don't, you may just want to leave it, I think what you said, Mariana, around, Ms. Breckus, around, after considering the following standards, I don't remember what exact language you used, leave it even more open. But
Oh, and just taking out and determining that a sufficient criteria have been met?
Sure. I think.
That works.
That would
That
probably
works.
give it more flexibility.
Yep. Got that, Mr. Carlisle? Okay. No, nothing? Anyone else? So if everyone's comfortable so far, I mean, we still have another opportunity, a few more times, I think, but we can direct we're going to be so sick of this, but we're going to direct I think there's consensus to give direction to our planning department to give notice of a public hearing, to put it on an agenda at some point in the future, and allow the public to come and provide feedback on this. And of course, we can always rediscuss if something comes up, if you're studying this later over the holidays and want to bring something up again. Yes, Mr. Lambert.
Before we close off discussion, I know there's a couple people in the audience that may want to comment on this.
Oh, all right. Well, we can open it up to public comment. If there's anyone here who wants to speak on this item, please feel free to come up now. Good evening. We'll have you sign in, and we will do the 3-minute timer for you as well. We won't start it until after you.
Hopefully I'll be faster than that.
Okay.
Good evening. Deborah Lazecki on behalf of Save Troy Corners. We've been working with you guys and City Council probably since 2018 prior than that. We love all the detail, all the time that you've put into it. We now understand that our corner is B and C zoning, and what we're wanting to ask is a little bit more of a deep dive on our corner. The last City Council, Mayor Baker spoke about interested to see how this is all going to go down on our corner, and we're just asking for some consideration. We've got, we're still hoping for a real true neighborhood node. I know we don't have a downtown. We know this is small. We know this is 2 lanes. Not only is it 2 lanes, it's also very narrow 2 lanes. We have the west side of Livernois, north of Square Lake. Those houses, half of their front yard, maybe a little less, I don't want to be dramatic, is part of the road right-of-way. So if we continue to really go into heavy dense development, we're going to be looking at taking away property there. We've got properties on the south side of Square Lake, east of Livernois. Those homes are a lot of older homes in that also. And we're hoping that that whole area will be looked at maybe into kind of a Troy Corners, maybe a little bit more defined. We're looking for a little bit more definition. If I look at right now what you've got scheduled for the area, the density that will go in there, I think will affect and harm the area. Since it is the first corner, we're not looking for the historical. I appreciate the historical and the work that you put into it. We're not really looking for that. We're looking for the newness and the updates that's going to be brought in. But we'd really like to have first floor retail, give the developers up whatever, back whatever, and have an area where small businesses can come and do retail. You know, Sourdough Ida, Square Lake, not Square Lake, Crooks and South Boulevard. I'm in there a lot. People are always talking about how they love the community. This is people that live in Troy, work in Troy, and when you walk in there, it's like talking to family. If we could have a section, I think that would be a perfect section for that. There's many cities surrounding us that have done even more confined areas and made a downtown type of a feel. So we're just looking for a place-setting area. And I think if we all work at that, we've got people, I've talked to the land owners of the corner. There's a lot of interest of sitting down and talking and coming up with maybe something cool that we could do. And I will leave it. Thank you very much for all your hard work.
We appreciate you. Yep, thank you. Is there anyone else here who would like to speak tonight? Come on up. Hi.
Ann Coleman. The yellow house on Livernois with the adjacent property. Hi, guys. I just want to add a couple things to what Debbie was saying. When we talk about doing a deep dive into our corner, we're asking for the opportunity to be able to give more input, not with a back and forth, a question and answer, not just to necessarily be heard, but to have that sit down to talk. When we talk about specifically making the corner more walkable, we're hoping that we can work together with the city to consider things like more intensive crosswalks, lowering speed limit, things like this that will make it more walkable and support anything that might be more dense. We also are wondering if we can create specific language for our node that doesn't hedge any developer in, but allows our node to really be considered something special and unique and stand out. And then as far as the, I saw that B is at the corner, and then there's a section of C, the node that you guys created C for, that goes adjacent to my property. I super appreciate that, that transition consideration. But I would be curious to know if more specifically we could define what attached residential would be, like a limited density or a concept even, that would support creating that corner and having it be more walkable. And then lastly, I'll say the reason that I want to push the walkable so hard is because I do see on a daily basis people still walking up and down Livernois. It's amazing in the freezing cold how many people I see walking that area, and it's just such a beautiful opportunity for us to create something really neat and with the schools and that kind of thing. So I think that's all for me. Just thank you very much for your service and your so much energy and late nights and everything. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for being here. Thank you, Mr. Lambert. That was a good idea. I didn't notice. Okay, so I think maybe we can talk offline about some of the comments that were made tonight and about where we go from here. But in general, I think we're going to give you direction to go ahead and do public notice and get this on an agenda. Any questions? You're looking at me funny. Okay. All right, so we're moving on. So now we're moving to item 7, which is general business, and we are here to discuss the 2026 meeting schedule, which we talked about last time, but we realized that we could not approve it because it was not providing for 2 meetings a month, which violated our bylaws. So I think we talked about amending the bylaws, but we're not prepared to do so today.
Mr. Lambert did come up with some language, but between myself, Brent, and Mr. Lambert, we were not satisfied with anything that we could bring to this board. So it was my recommendation, so instead of trying to pass bylaws so that we could then pass the calendar, my recommendation was let's present a calendar that complies with the current status of the bylaws, and then we can continue to have that discussion. We can still cancel meetings as needed, but at least it gets this off our plate, and we can have more formal consideration of how it best makes sense to change the bylaws, if it makes sense to change the bylaws.
Okay, perfect.
We're pretty close, but we just didn't want to hash this out and spend an hour tonight doing that. We're close.
Perfect. Yep, Mr. Tagle.
Does that mean that if we schedule a meeting, but for some reason it's canceled, do we comply with the bylaw, or does the bylaws say that you must meet twice a month?
Bylaws say you shall hold meetings on the second and fourth Tuesday of each month.
So if we cancel
And
a
if we
meeting,
cancel
we're
a
in
meeting,
violation?
if you cancel a meeting, currently says you may schedule a meeting on an alternate date in the same month. So we don't comply with the bylaws.
We're going to fix it.
So we need to fix it.
Yeah, we haven't been compliant for a while, so, yeah, we'll loosen that up. And we'll make sure that when we revise it, we won't be in violation of canceling that December 22nd meeting that we're about to approve. Okay.
Right,
Yes,
and there are, yeah.
Mr. Fox.
So for now, the best course of action would just be I would like to make a motion to approve the schedule as presented.
Yep, who's seconding that? Ms. Malala Holly seconded that? All right, are we ready for a vote, or does anyone have questions? Okay. Ms. Zarnicki?
Mr. Krant?
Yes.
Mr. Lambert?
Yes.
Ms. Malala Holly?
Yes.
Ms. Parakis?
Yes.
Mr. Tagle?
Yes.
Mr. Faison?
Yes.
Mr. Fox?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, so that leads us to public comment for items that are on tonight's agenda. anyone's here to speak about anything that we already discussed? All right, seeing no one, we are going
Go ahead.
to move on to Planning Commission comment. I'm going to start with Ms. Malala Holly.
I'm sorry, but shouldn't have interrupted you.
Oh, I know what you're going to say, yeah.
But we did not, I believe, recognize a letter that came, an email that came to the planning department, which we all have on our desks here today. So just wanted to make sure that we acknowledged that from the resident about the item number 5 that we just discussed.
Yeah. Is there a way that we can get these emailed to us prior to the meeting?
Yeah, we can, we just don't, we got it this morning and yes, we can.
Okay. I mean, I know maybe not everyone will see it, but
I
when
know
they're
when we-
here and
when
I
we lay
come
it-
in at 7, I never have time to look, and I did miss it. I mean, I glanced at it, but I missed it. There's also a resolution here. I'm not even sure what this is about.
That is not for us.
Leftover from another meeting.
Oh, all right,
Somebody
okay.
else's meeting.
Okay. No wonder it made no sense to me. Okay. Mr. Fox, we're going to just do public comment. Or, I mean, sorry, planning commission comment.
I'm all set, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Feza?
I just wanted to commend staff on the job with the node language and the whole process. It was a lot of information, a lot of meetings. I thought it was a terrific job you did that. Well, Ben, Brent, and the whole team.
Mr. Lambert?
I agree with Mr. Faison's comments, but I have 3 quick items for you. Number one, a couple of questions, and then I get, well, 3 questions. Number one, what's going on at the northwest corner of Waddles and Crooks? I know that we at one time had approved a daycare, and I don't know if that, all that bulldozing is related to the daycare center or not.
Confirmed it is, yes.
Okay, good. I just want to check. Second, the comment that was made by Mrs. Bossenberger about Ottawa Drive. I know at one time, I put words in your mouth, Mr. Savage, you are not a traffic engineer, but at one time, the city of Troy was very interested in the whole idea of traffic calming, but it looks like that's been kind of pulled back. Is there a reason, has there been a change in philosophy with the city as far as the whole issue of traffic calming?
I can't speak intelligently about the issue.
All right.
I apologize,
Okay.
I can't.
All right. Should ask the traffic engineer.
Yes.
And let's see, the last question I had, the email that our vice chair referenced, I'm sure a lot of people in the city are asking this question and they don't understand completely, but planning commission is not really in the, our responsibility is not to look at a development and say there's too many vacant offices in the city, so we can't approve that, because it's more of an economic issue. Is that correct?
It's correct. We are involved in policy. We develop a draft master plan that speaks to our policy regarding development. But after that, we process applications. So that's what we do. The policy that we've worked on says that office is an appropriate use here, as an appropriate transition here. And everyone's entitled to their opinion. We do have an abundance of vacant office space in the city. However, I would argue that this type of office space, purpose-built office for a small medical office, is different than a 300,000 square foot office building that's got 60%. Yes, a spec office. So it's a completely different market. So.
Thank you.
Ms. Malala Holly, I'm going to give you a second shot here.
Thank you. I just wanted to, yes, first and foremost, thank you for the hard work, Ben and Brent's team, in putting all that together. It was very helpful. The clear copy definitely made sense to me in so many ways, because I wasn't really able to read through those red lines. But thank you very much. Just for a reference point, I wanted to let you know that there's an article in Wall Street Journal today about the Detroit suburb with Michigan's most expensive homes. Can anybody take a guess which suburb they are referring to? Because it came as a surprise to me. You read that?
I read the article, yeah.
Birmingham.
Birmingham.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's interesting. So I just thought I'd point that out to you, all of you.
Is that it?
I'm done.
Okay.
Oh, happy holidays, by the way. Happy holidays to all of you.
Thank you. Mr. Krant.
Okay, Again, the virtual planners gathering, I know I mentioned it at our last meeting, but since it's only 2 days away from now, I thought I'd re-mention it. It's a legislative and judicial update. If you want to tune in, it's on December 11th, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., and you can register on Oakland County's website. In addition to that, there is from our Michigan Association of Planning, they have a webinar, a two-part webinar. It's called The Past and Future of Planning in Michigan. It's a virtual, again, it's virtual, so you can just tune in. It has 2 parts, and the first one, what did I write? Oh, here. The first one is on January 8th, and it goes from 12 noon to 1:30 p.m., and the second one is on January 15th, 1 week later. Same subject, and if you get to that website of the Michigan Association of Planning, you will see the speakers are really excellent speakers. I was just going to say they're excellent speakers, and they really know what they're doing, and they've been, I know Mark Wyckoff, he was one of the instructors for the Citizens Planners thing, and he's excellent, so I'm just saying, if you want to know the past, and they will give a great picture, I'm sure, of the past and future planning for Michigan. I think it's well worth the time.
Thank you. Mr. Tagle?
I'm all set, but I hope everybody has a happy holiday.
Thank you.
Happy and safe.
Yeah, thank you. Ms. Dufresne?
I'm all set, thank you.
Mr. Sada?
I have a running back and forth that I always take all the credit and give him all the blame. But in terms of the effort that went into this text amendment, Ben and his team did all the heavy lifting. So nice job, Ben.
Yes, congratulations. Thank you.
Nice job, Mr. Carlisle. Excellent job. Nothing for me except for everyone have a great holiday, and we'll see everyone back here in the new year.
Thank you.
Meeting adjourned. 8:29.